So, hey guys, it's your boy Dark Raikou here with what if Issei had, or has, or not has, had? Yeah, I don't know. For some reason I can't speak. Whatever. Had Soul Magic, Part 1. Now, before I go on with this, what if? This was actually supposed to be an old what if. It was supposed to be kind of uploaded near the time where, when I upload, what if Issei what if Issei was a descendant of Sparta? I also gotta continue that part on. I just left it at part 1 and never continued on. But yeah, because for some reason I'm thinking of either just kind of leaving it at the point to, well, I don't know how I should explain this, but for that what if I was actually going to continue it on, or just redo it and actually do something else. I don't know why. I just don't have the feeling to actually do it or continue it. But whatever, I'll figure out what to do with it. But yeah, but pretty much this is what, well, the original, yeah. Well, not original thumbnail, mostly. I changed the character, this one right here, mostly Issei, to kind of looking similar to Gas, or mostly edited a little bit. The other one, the original one, I kind of just changed it, but yeah, whatever. But not the point. So, Issei is actually going to have 3 souls inside his body. He is going to have his 2 souls that he kind of has, and his 3rd one, which is not actually his entirely. But yeah. But not the point. If you do know where, Soul Magic comes from, well, I think Soul Magic comes from anything, whatever. But if you know what the thumbnail is mostly from, or the character behind, mostly Issei, then you know this is W.D. Gaster. So, yes, his 3rd soul is going to be similar to that of W.D. Gaster. Or, he is, but whatever. Now, don't worry how this is going to work, blah, blah, blah. I'll explain it throughout this what if, but pretty much, let me begin to this what if, and let me shut the fuck up. So, yeah. Let me begin. So, we go into, well, someone just kind of getting out of a portal after a while, or mostly just teleporting in front of his house. This is where, well, he says, damn, it's been only a couple of fucking months since I've been here. Alright, I forgot school started about a day or freaking months ago. Maybe I should go back. I did kind of just dip on my family and everything. I wanted to go travel dimensions and see what was happening. They're probably going to be sick and worried about me. This is where, well, this boy kind of has whitish hair. Whitish, just purely white hair. Kind of some black on it, but mostly just white. Of course, well, his eyes, one is glowing blue and the other one is glowing red. This is where, well, they change a little bit to just being changed to purple for a little bit and then change back to red and blue. This is where they just change back into his normal chocolatey brown eyes. This is where, well, he then says, man, it's been a while since I've been here. It's been 4 months. Then that day that happened on school. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened. But I don't care. This is where, well, he has what they call this kind of black and purple coat at the same time behind him. Or mostly he's wearing a black kind of shirt, black pants underneath him, a belt that's kind of black and purple, similar to his, looks like to be a science coat. But of course, where, well, he also has a scarf around him, mostly just a white scarf, but yeah. And so where, well, he's kind of wearing what they call these brownish kind of shoes, but yeah. This is where, well, or mostly, they're not even brown shoes entirely, they're mostly like slippers. He just didn't want to wear shoes most of the time, but yeah. This is where, well, he decides to knock on the door. Now, of course, his skin is a little bit paler than the last time he saw, well, his original self, but yeah. Well, not paler, still tan, but yeah. Just also a little bit pale, but yeah, don't worry about that. And this is where, when he knocks at the door at his original house, the house is kind of called Welcome to the Hyodo family. Mostly that's what it says in the beginning, mostly at the door. And this is where, well, someone opens the door. A man with kind of brownish, mostly short brownish hair. Right now having glasses, and of course having his face kind of structure being the age of like 30 or something. This is where, well, this man is wearing right now a blue kind of shirt that kind of is like a V-neck, or not V-neck, mostly I forgot what you call it, whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna say V-neck. Of course, he's wearing what's it called, kind of these grayish pants and boots, mostly like shoes that he looks like he's about to go to work and all that. It's pretty early in the morning, but yeah, this is where he has a brown belt around him, but yeah, this is where he says, do I know you? This is where the man said towards the younger looking fella. He's confused why there's a kid in front of their door and knocking. This is where, he says, can I help you? This is where, the younger fella kind of says, he grins and says, yeah, you can help me, father. Besides, it's been a while. It's been about 4 months since the last time I saw you. This is where he smiles at the older man. The older man winds his eyes. He now sees the structure of the person's hair. It's similar to that of his child that went missing 4 months ago. Of course, his child has whitish hair instead of his brownish hair. Well, kind of, yeah, whitish hair, but there's still a little tint of brown hair a little bit around there. Mostly there's kind of highlights, but they're light brown. This is where, his eyes are still a chocolatey brown for a second. Of course, more gentle and nice. And of course, very kind, but a hint of, fuck with me and you're dead, mostly. But of course, it's not shown to his father, mostly. His father has tears in his eyes, right now hugging his younger child. And this is where, not youngest child, mostly his just child, saying, Issei, it's been so long. Where have you been? Come in, my boy. This is where, they go inside. And of course, this is where, someone like in the kitchen says, Goto, what is happening? Who knocked at the door? This is where when she comes out of the kitchen, she sees, Goto having his arm, mostly his hand, right now on the shoulder of a younger fella. This younger fella, who is kind of known as Issei, is right now walking next to his father. Of course, having his hands on his, mostly pants, mostly near his pants pocket, but yeah. This is where, the older looking lady says, Goto, who is this person? Why did you just bring a child into our house? You know, if some neighbor looks at this, it looks kind of wrong. Goto says, but Mika, this is our child. It's Issei. This is where when Mika was holding a plate on her hand, she said, Issei? This is where she drops the plate, but luckily before the plate even lands on the ground, Issei appears right in front of, the plate, mostly having his foot down on the ground and catching it. This is where, he then just flips the plate back up, mostly like kicks it like a soccer ball, or not kick it, mostly just lift it up with his leg and catches it, and gives it back to his mother and says, hey mother, it's been a while. This is where Mika hugs Issei. Didn't care about the plate, just hugs him. Issei, it's been so long. Where have you been? My baby boy. She starts hugging him. It's where Issei feels like all his bones just shatter and say, ow. I'm gonna have to regen that later. Yep, I think all my bones broken and then saying, ow. This is where, Goto chuckles and sees the cringe on his, child's face. Right now it looks like if he had a bone-crushing bear just hugging him, but yeah. This is where, he says, mother, can you please stop crushing me? I think you broke half my ribs. This is where, the child right now sits on the table of the kitchen, and of course his mom and dad are just staring at him, right now with grateful in their eyes, but also kind of confused and where he went. This is where Issei explains him where he kind of went. Now, of course, the things that he had to tell them are kind of not the truth entirely. It's actually the lie, but the truth at the same time. He said that he went to explore the world. After being, after accidentally kind of, falling in a hole of a cliff, like a, what's it called, like a cave, he managed to land somewhere, but of course broke some of his bones. It's been a couple months since he was there, but of course he kind of lived peacefully after having enough strength to get out of it. But instead of, kind of getting out through the same way, he actually got throughout another place in Japan. Of course, where, he just kind of lied through his whole life. But truly, the true reality stone, mostly not true reality stone, mostly the truth. Let me explain what really happened. Issei 4 months ago was actually depressed. After getting his heart broken by a girl in the Kendo squad, mostly just to prank him and other things. Now, of course, to prank him about mostly that they loved him and other stuff, but this is where really they didn't really even care about Issei. This is where Issei's heart was shattered. Of course, he was depressed. He didn't go back home on that day. Instead, he went up towards the mountain, mostly up towards mostly a hills slash mountain. It was supposed to be a mountain somewhat. But of course, he saw a cave, walked in it. But of course, it was really dark when he walks like straight, all the way like straight. He accidentally see the giant hole and fell down. This is where when he lands down, he was in a kind of, well, mostly a place full of goldenish yellow flowers. This is where these goldenish yellow flowers were all around him. Of course, where when he gets up, he felt like his leg was broken. It hurted him so much. But of course, where he kept walking, he managed to got up, and for some reason the leg kind of healed a little bit. But of course, where well he kept walking, he felt determination. You are filled with determination, it said. That's where well he heard a voice, but he was confused. But of course, he kept moving on because well, for some reason he was filled with determination, even though he was depressed. But of course, he kept walking around, kind of learning more about what happened in this place. But of course, he bumped into someone in, well, a ruins. It looked like when he was kind of going to a cave ruins from the golden flowers, he bumped into someone. Someone with kind of brownish hair. And of course, this girl kind of had, well, a bluish but purplish kind of like coat and other things. Of course, seemingly kind of being the same height as Issei and being similar age of him. This is where, well, she kind of had goldenish eyes, but of course she had mostly both of her eyes closed. This is where she kind of spoke and realized that Issei was another human. This person thought that Issei was actually a monster. Pretty much, she then actually took Issei with his arm to kind of bring him towards someone named Torio. This Torio female was actually kind of goat, but a monster. But of course, she explained where Issei exactly is at. Issei, he didn't just fall through a hole. When he landed in the goldenish flowers, it looked like it teleported him into a different dimension entirely. Right now, this place kind of used magic, but mostly the soul magic. Of course, he was taught a lot by Torio, the goat mother. Of course, where Torio decided to bring him out of the ruins and bring him towards other people to meet them. But yeah, of course, meeting a lot of different monsters like, what's it called? Like Monster Kid, but instead of being a Monster Kid, it was Monster Teen. Don't worry about that. Undying, Alpha, what, I forgot her name exactly. Mostly the scientists. Of course, other characters like Papyrus, Sam's, and other people. But of course, throughout this whole adventure of him kind of exploring throughout this dimension, he kind of realized that, well, he kind of had soul magic. But it was two sides. Well, kind of. He had determination magic, but also a different type of magic, and that was hatred magic. Now, he didn't learn about this until later on. But of course, his determination magic was actually trained by his kind of best friend. Mostly another human, but this human's actually from this dimension. Mostly she fell down, and of course, she was basically with the monster for a while. Of course, they can go to a human world anytime, and she actually kind of already broken through the barrier. They did kind of go to a human world, but Issei didn't really like how the humans kind of glare at the monsters, which pissed him off a lot. But of course, mostly his friend, who was named Frisk, didn't manage to stop him from actually doing anything crazy. Because it seems that Issei kind of has a similar personality of her other friend. Another person who kind of is also with them, but mostly she really doesn't like humans at all. This is where, well, this other person has brownish hair, of course, palish skin, and of course having red eyes with a greenish coat, similar towards Frisk, but different. This is where, well, her name was Chara. Of course, both Issei and Chara kind of got along, the fact that they both hate humans and how they are disgusting creatures for even daring to glare at monsters, because monsters are just peaceful creatures at the time, but yeah. Of course, Issei also then met another teenager monster named, well, Azel? No, not Azel. What was his name? Another monster team, but his name was Azrael. Mostly the child of basically the queen of the monsters being Torio, and the king of the monsters being, well, what was his name? Oh, shit. being Asgore or Dreamer, and of course Azrael Dreamer and Toria a Dreamer. But yeah, they are basically royalty family of monsters. But yeah, of course is where he met all those people. Of course is where, well, he was mostly training with Chara and Frisk and how to learn to determination. But yeah, now Chara also had similar, well, similar state of magic, similar towards Issei, being, well, this magic of determination, but different, darker, much more darker, sinister kind of magic. But of course, after a while of being, well, in between those two kind of places, in the monster kind of like sealment place and also into the human world, he accidentally kind of discovered something dangerous that should have never been discovered, but he discovered on accident. It was him kind of getting to the anti-void. Now, of course, the anti-void was purely a white void that somehow he managed to get here thanks to his determination magic. But of course, he was attacked by this creature, a ghoul of monsters. But of course, this ghoul of monsters transforms into a figure. Still kind of sludgy kind of monster, but it was kind of stable enough. Of course, this is where the creature had his soul right now appearing, but it was glitching out, it had arrows in it. This is where, well, Issei was confused until the monster kind of said, with sign languages appeared, but of course it was kind of distorted at the same time. Fuse with me, child. This is where, well, Issei was confused, but of course Issei didn't know what to do. He was about to kind of like use his determination sword to kind of make a manifest as a sword, but of course he didn't really want to attack this creature. Not if he was hostile. He did attack him, but still, he can see that the creature is feeling more pain than anything. So of course he walked up to the monster, and of course decided to touch the soul of the monster. This is where it was glitching out, and of course the glitches appeared around his body. Of course, hurting him so much more. He felt so much more pain than anything. This is where, oh, Issei, what is happening to me? This is where Issei passed out. But this is where the creature disappeared into dust. Well, into glitchy dust. And went into Issei. This is where Issei's soul right now transforms into being a bigger heart. Mostly a bigger soul heart. But being upside from the actual normal human heart. Being that from monster heart. But of course, we're inside the monster heart. Where's two other souls. Well, one you can barely see it, but one it was crimson red. Being a human and monster soul has fusion. This is where when Issei woke up, he realized he was still in the anti-void kind of dimension. Of course, where, well, he felt weird. He felt much more powerful and much more taller than his previous height. He was actually 5'7" when he got here. Now he feels like he's 5'9" or 5'10". This is where, well, when he got up, he realized how he was wearing similar clothes to that creature or whatever he was. A monster? He didn't know his name because when he tries to use his determination soul arbitration, well, not arbitration, it was an observe and have ability to see what he was exactly. It kind of said unknown. It was like in these symbols that he didn't understand much. But this is where, well, when he started talking, this is where, well, he started talking kind of similar to that creature. But he, over time, being in his anti-void, time didn't really flow outside that much. But when he got out of that place, he actually figured out one thing. He's now a fusion. A human/monster fusion now. He's no longer human entirely. He's a monster human, actually. He's 50-50, but yeah. Of course, he found out who he accidentally infused with, or who he actually helped on purpose. And that was none other than W.D. Gaster. Actually, well, the father, not father figure, but the father of two of the skeletons that he knows. One being lazy and the other one being super active and a lot. That being Papyrus and Sam's. Now, Sam's is the older brother of Papyrus, but yeah. Even though Issei is confused how that even works, but yeah. But of course, it worked well. Issei managed to teleport out of the anti-void with the power of using, well, W.D. Gaster's teleportation, his magic, and using his own determination to just break throughout the void. This worked well. They managed to get out, but of course it worked well. Issei is still wearing similar clothes to W.D. Gaster until he just changes them using his own magic. Well, mostly, not his own magic, mostly kind of getting towards, mostly out of the, the monster seal plane. he kind of got towards where Sam's would be at. Now, of course, talk to Sam's about what was happening. Of course, Sam's understands because he can actually feel his father's magic right now coursing through Issei's body. This is where, well, Issei could always switch places with either himself or W.D. Gaster. So, of course, he switches places with W.D. Gaster to actually talk towards Sam's much better. With that happening, they both talk in what was happening. Of course, where, well, W.D. Gaster apologized to his son about his stupidity and corrupt himself to literally accidentally destroying almost the entire monster race with his selfish goals. Of course, Sam's really accepted that apology. He was just happy for his father to be back, but being inside Issei, so of course, he's confused as either calling Issei father or best friend. And then ended off with the bone pun, saying, well, I guess this is going to be some kind of, what's it called? I can't really think of any puns for like Sam's, but he says, I guess you can say that you're bone father. This is where, well, or father friend, he says question marks. This is where, well, Gaster says no. And this is where Issei also transforms back and says no. This is where he chuckles at, what's it called, Sam's, but yeah, he didn't switch back. This is where, well, Issei, when he switches back, mostly, you see here, Issei's hair turns back to darkish brown and darkish brown eyes. But of course, when he switches to W.D. Gaster, his hair goes white, his skin kind of becomes pale like a skeleton, and his eyes goes red and blue. But yeah, of course, well, after a while of living in this place, mostly it's been kind of a month living in the place and being fused with W.D. Gaster, Issei kind of learned about the, well, AUs, mostly the other AUs, different dimensions. This is where, well, in different dimensions, there's either an evil Sam's, a good Chara, an evil, what's it called, a Frisk in different dimensions. This is where, well, there are so many different, like, timelines entirely. There's an Arrow Sam's, Sam's that likes his coloring, Dream Sam's, Nightmare Sam's, Killer Sam's, blah blah blah, X Sam's, whatever. There's just a lot of freaking Sam's in different dimensions, that being the same, well, characters in this dimension. Now, of course, they don't know if Issei will literally be copying to the system and being, well, transformed into other, well, kind of dimension beings. Of course, if that's the case, that will be kind of odd. Or maybe he's not, then maybe he's just from a different dimension. Maybe there's other timelines from his dimension. But yeah. Of course, Issei was very impressed. He actually wanted to figure out, he actually wanted to see other people just like him, mostly like himself, mostly see other of himself in different dimensions. Of course, he figured out how to get there, but mostly he was still in the AUs of different Sams when Sams kind of met them. He met the original Sams, and the original Sams is lazy as fuck, like always. He met a super active Sams because it looked like Sams and Papyrus might switch in one place. He then met a very ruthless and kind of plus 18 Sams, whatever. This is where, well, he just met a lot of different Sams, so it was kind of confusing. But of course, met a lot of different Charas and Frisk. Now, different types of Frisk and Charas, there were either, what's it called, nice or evil or whatever. Of course, he was just creeped out with the nice Charas because it just creeped him out because he got used to, well, evil Chara most of the time in his dimension, or the one that he kind of went to. But of course, not the point. He was just traveling this different dimensions, but yeah. He actually felt used to like different dimensions. Of course, almost did get attacked by Arrow Sams because Arrow Sams realized that Issei was kind of like an arrow. Of course, tried to attack him, but this is where Issei managed to defeat him pretty easily by hitting him with a blaster, a Gaster blaster, and then disappearing. He just went bye. This is where, well, Arrow Sams was pissed. Yeah. This is where, well, Issei got back to his own dimension, but yeah. This is where Issei wanted to travel towards his dimension, back to his own dimension, but actually wanted to travel to see others of himself. This is where, well, everyone did kind of wait by towards Issei, and of course Issei did kind of got an inventory with food and other stuff. Of course, the word Chara and Frisk will mostly hug him and tell him to not kill himself, not do anything crazy, and don't you dare even try to somehow murder yourself. This is where they look at him very angry, but yet with a gentle smile. This is where, well, Issei was creeped out with Chara's smile. This is where, well, he kind of says, Chara, that's the most scariest thing I've ever seen. You smiling? Yeah, no. Help me, Sam. It's where Chara gets angry and right now wants to stab Issei. Issei said, hey, I'm just kidding. This is where, well, Frisk managed to stop her from actually trying to stab Issei, but Issei says, thank God. Thanks, Frisk. This is where, well, he smiles at Frisk and Frisk smiles at him. It's where Chara says, if you ever say that my smile is creepy, I'm gonna stab you. I'm gonna make sure I rip into you. Issei sweat drops and says, okay. This is where, well, he kind of meets with Azrael and says, see you, man. This is where Azrael kind of fist bumps him and says, yeah, see you, man. Dude, if you ever want to come back to our dimension, just teleport or whatever. This is where, well, Issei says, yeah, man, I'll definitely see you again. Don't worry, I just want to go back to, well, to my own dimension or timeline, whatever, and kind of see my other timelines. This is where, well, Azrael says, yeah, man, see you. But of course, where, well, Issei was going out of, well, this dimension of AU, or mostly this kind of multi-universe, and kind of went back into his own universe. But it wasn't actually his own universe. It was actually a different timeline. Now, he basically kind of crusaded through different timelines, but yeah, trying to figure out where his actual original one was at. But not the point. He kind of met different timelines. Like, in one timeline, he's literally a god. Right now, having whitish hair and bluish eyes. Whitish and silver hair. Of course, this person's cocky as hell, and literally just chuckling and saying that he's basically God. Of course, where, well, he does get smacked the shit out of by, well, mostly his girlfriend in this one. And yes, Issei is basically Gojo Kakashi reincarnation, the one he kind of met. But of course, where Gojo Kakashi, Issei did notice, well, the other Issei, mostly WD Issei, that's what I'm going to call him, but yeah. But of course, Gojo Issei, mostly Gojo Hatake Issei didn't really pay attention towards that one. He noticed he was there and then blinked out of existence. Of course, already learned everything about that Issei. Well, kind of. It was kind of airy a little bit. This is where, well, Issei then went on to different dimensions. In different dimensions, there's one where Issei's literally the Shadow Monarch. In a different dimension, oh well, he's a Shadow Monarch, but truly he's like Sun Jin-woo. In a different dimension, he's basically the White Flame Monarch, who is literally fighting against a fallen angel. In a different dimension, there's just so many different dimensions where he's immortal. In some of those dimensions, he figures out he's like a pirate descendant, or a pirate in general, or just kind of like this person who literally can use devil fruits, but yeah. In other dimensions, he's basically a fucking mafia boss, who literally just using a Tommy gun to obliterate his enemies. This is where, well, in different other dimensions, he's just entirely different. There's so many dimensions of himself that he is just shocked. Mostly dimensions / timelines or whatever, multi-universe, yeah. Mostly AUs of himself, but yeah. This is where, well, the one AU that he's quite interested in is the one where he's actually, what's it called? In so many different dimensions, the only one that he's kind of interested in is the one where he's basically able to just erase people with his just mouth, literally just using words, which is broken as fuck, and he accidentally did bump into that Issei. Now, of course, that Issei looked at the WD Issei and just looked at him. Just, they look at each other. Now, of course, Quiet Issei didn't really talk to him that much. Mostly just said, yo, I'm guessing you're from a different universe entirely. Or AU universe, what's it called? Issei or whatever. This is where Issei says, how do you know about that? You think I can't travel? I can use the words to literally just go from different places. Of course, this is where, well, none of them would be as strong as me. He smiles with an evilish smirk. This is where WD Gaster Issei kind of just looked at him, sweat drops, and says, sure, I'ma just leave, okay? This is where, well, quiet kid, well, mostly quiet Issei kind of just looked at him and said, sure, leave, bye. This is where, well, Issei managed to escape him, but yeah. Of course, he almost didn't escape one of them, who was actually pretty much didn't like Issei. It was mostly in the, well, there's two different dimensions of Isseis. There's the kind of good Isseis, and then there's the Isseis that were betrayed evil, or just in general didn't kind of get cheated on or something like that. And they're evil. The one Issei that he doesn't want to ever meet is the one that's kind of like an evil scientist right now, trying to take over the whole world and turn them into nothing but just mechanical, well, machines. Right now showing to his god, the broken god or something, which he sweat drops. Of course, well, there was other different things that he met. Mostly one Issei that was literally the kind of incarnation slash mostly son or just mostly incarnation of something called SCP-001 Scarlet King. Now, of course, he sweat dropped when he saw that. He said, no, fuck that. But yeah. Of course, this is where he managed to crusade back to his own dimension after a while, and that's how he got here. It's been 4 months since he did all that. So where, well, that's why he didn't tell his parents that he's crusade through different dimensions, but of course just gave them the half-assed version of that one, but yeah. This is where, well, his parents are happy to see him, but yeah. Now, of course, Issei has, like I mentioned, a black coat that kind of does light up to be purple. It was kind of like a light shade of purple that he has, not this bright one just yet. I just say just yet, but yeah. It's mostly a purplish coat, but yeah. This is what, well, they are glad to see their baby boy be back with them. It's just, well, they just don't know how to feel about him. Now, of course, they never did take him out of school. They actually forgot about it. With their grief and sadness, they never did take him out of school. So, of course, he still goes to Kuo Academy. It's just, he looks completely different. So, of course, they don't know if they should update him about what happened to his appearance and other things, or they should just let him go there to see what would happen to everyone's reaction. Issei grins and wanted to just do the, second one. But of course, this is where, well, he knows that so many girls would probably chase after him and try to probably F him to death. This is where, well, literally try to take his children, which he doesn't want to. He just say, sweat off and says, nah, there's a lot of crazy-ass girls. They are really thirsty half the damn time. If Kiba almost survives and Kiba survives, this is where he thinks in his head. He remembers the Prince of Kuo. This is where, well, he doesn't even know how the Prince of Kuo didn't accidentally kind of F so many girls, or girls kind of forced him to do that and kind of had children. He's just shocked. But he doesn't care. He is right now just relaxing and kind of talking to his parents. He's grateful for talking to them, but he kind of misses his AU kind of, well, mostly AU Undertale Dimension family that he loves. He actually loved all the monsters because they're actually really fucking cool. And there were actually friends that he made with along. He made also human friends and also a human girl who was kind of quiet. And he did notice that she had a soul that's called Fear Magic. Now, of course, her name was Betty. And she was the only kind of friend that he actually, well, was kind of crazy. But, of course, Betty never did attack him most of the time. Mostly she was extremely nice around Issei, but when it came to around with others, she didn't really like them at all. She didn't like humans and she didn't like monsters. Issei was just one exception. But of course, Issei managed to change her POV on human and monsters, but yeah. Of course, Betty hated it, but she just didn't care. So, well, Issei just sweat drops and hopes that doesn't actually, like, cause where Betty has to kind of try to kill everyone. But yeah. He then kind of just smiles and says, yeah, mother and father. That would be grateful if you can actually give them whatever. I'm back to school or whatever. And you will see a notification. Doesn't work. Well, their parents nodded. Of course, where his father says, well, I gotta go to work. You say you'll be going with your mother towards the school. So, sorry. That's where Issei says, no, it's okay. I'll be going with mom. Doesn't work. Well, Issei's mother says, okay, then let's go. Doesn't work. Well, she then asks Issei if he needs a shower. This is where Issei chuckles and says, yeah, I probably do. Now, of course, Issei did kind of put his clothing in the laundry because his mother did wash it up, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei is right now washing up. Now, of course, this is when he gets out of the shower and looks at the mirror. His muscles are pretty toned. Now, of course, he looks muscular and pretty built for being, well, a 17-year-old kid. Of course, this is where, well, he is just looking at the mirror and says, damn, I'm ripped. No, just kidding. He doesn't really care about that. This is where, well, so, this is where, well, Issei is just chuckling to himself and saying, wow, it's been 4 months since the last time I came here. Luckily, I didn't die thanks to any of the other Isseis that would try to kill me. I feel somehow some of them could easily fucking murk me, but not the point. This is where, well, he then says, well, I should probably be going. He kind of like cleans up his hair, mostly all the water, mostly dries it off, gets towards the laundry room, and gets his clothing. Now, of course, none of his old clothing would fit him because he kind of grew out of it. He kind of became more muscular instead of being thin, and of course much taller, but yeah, he's now kind of, well, I think he was 5'8". Wait, I don't remember how. Of course, Issei's original height was 5'7", but now Issei is actually the height of being, well, almost close to being like 6. Fuck it, he is 6. He's 6 feet, okay? He is 6 feet. That's just because Gaster's original height was actually 6'5". So of course he kind of grew a little bit taller after a while. But he is still 17. That's alright. Well, Issei kind of gets next to his mother, and of course she is pretty impressed with Issei's height. Being next to him is actually seeing that he's taller than her. But of course, well, Mika and Issei kind of get to the school. Now, of course, well, when so many people are turning to see mostly the older lady, and of course the younger fella being, well, next to his mother, of course, well, so many people are whispering. Now, of course, they're kind of in class, but they're in school, like inside the school building, just kind of whispering, saying, who's that guy? He looks kind of amazing. This is where, well, most of the girls, the guy says, better not be someone that is trying to enroll in the school. I hope they don't accept him. This is where, well, so many guys are kind of just glaring at, well, the newcomer who's actually next to the old lady. But yeah, this is where, well, or the old, younger looking lady, but yeah. This is where, well, everyone is just so confused. Girls are hoping that he might not be a pervert or anything, which Issei is not a pervert. Issei didn't care. That one time he got his heart broken, he just didn't give a shit that much about girls. Now, of course, he didn't, like, feel love to them that much. Of course, the only love he ever felt was kind of a little bit to his friends. Like, just like as a friendship, family, like, family love. Not, you know, that whole relationship, no. Which, yeah, of course, where, well, he is kind of walking beside his mother. They get to the kind of, like, principal, well, mostly the president, council member, just to kind of, well, just enroll Issei back. Well, see if he's still enrolled into the school. If he's not, and there's no more of the scholarship or whatever, then she would kind of just enroll him into a different school. Which, when Issei and Mika manage to get inside, the council president says, come in. You may come in. This is where, well, who is sitting there was mostly Ria, Sona, and what's it called? Mostly, Sabaki? I think her name was Sabaki. I can't remember. This is where, well, they're sitting there. Sabaki was writing on the computer looking at the, what's it called? Things that she was typing in. This is where, well, Sona and Ria noticed the older looking lady, but the younger looking man behind him being almost the same height, or not even the same height, taller height than the older lady, but of course having his hair being white, his eyes being chocolatey brown, and of course wearing a kind of coat that looks like it does fit him a lot. This is where, well, he's a little bit paler skin, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei kind of sits down, even with Mika, and Mika says, so you're the council, right? This is where, well, Sona nodded. Of course, Sona has a fake name, but yeah, and Rios doesn't. But of course, Rios is looking at the male. Of course, you can sense this weird energy from him, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei is kind of looking around this place like, did it change? Not really. Since the last time he saw this place, it really didn't change. He mostly got in trouble a lot in this where, well, he mostly went to the council president. This is where, well, Mika said, Cyrena. This is where, well, she calls Sona by the fake name, but yeah. Cyrena says, yes. Can I know your name, please? Cyrena said. This is where, well, Mika says, yes, my name is Mika Hyodo, and this is Issei Hyodo right here. This is where, well, Issei is looking around. Of course, Mika realized that Issei isn't paying attention. That's probably because, well, Issei just doesn't really care, or he's just a little lost on a lot of things and what happened 4 months, so of course she doesn't bother him. This is where, well, both of Sona, Tsubaki, and even Rias wind their eyes. Well, Rias doesn't really know who Issei exactly is, but Sona does. This is where, well, she then looks at Issei, and Issei's looking around, just like, nothing really did change here. This is where, well, Sona say, so, you're Issei Hyodo. Where have you been for the last 4 months? Not dead. This is where Issei said bluntly. Of course, where, well, Sona says, okay, that's a weird response. Well, when you kind of literally land in a giant hole and break a leg, that could sure tell you that I didn't die. This is where Sona's confused. This is where Mika kind of gives them the short explainment of what Issei explains to them. This is where all of them looks horrified. Issei literally could have died in a giant hole when he's just walked into a fucking cave out of depression. Now, of course, they didn't know about his emotion state, but he just walked into the cave saying he was exploring. He didn't want to talk about the depression part he was in. But of course, literally fell into a giant hole, broke a leg, and walked it off after a while. But yeah, of course, well, Sona was impressed that Issei didn't literally fucking died. But yeah, this is where, well, Sona says, okay, well, I'm guessing that you're here to see if he's still enrolled into the school. She asks Mika. This is where, well, Mika does nod and says, yes, if he's not, then I will kind of enroll him into a different school. This is where, well, Sona shakes her head and says, no need for that. He's still enrolled. We didn't actually take him out because we thought he was just ditching for 4 months. This is where Mika says, I'm not surprised at that also. This is where, well, Sona says, but yeah, I'm guessing that you want Issei to have different clothing from the last clothing he had because he looks much taller. This is where, well, Sabaki kind of nodded, and of course she had a tint of blush because even though Issei looks much taller, he also looks much more handsome. His paler skin just makes him look a little bit more handsome. This is where, well, Issei is right now thinking of something. He's looking at something, and he is right now talking to someone inside. So, Gaster says, yeah? Do you think they can sense my magic, or is it good enough to suppress it like this? Well, the decent magic suppression would be good enough, but I don't think they'll be able to sense the soul magic. Other people from different universes, from like yours, from the AUs of Issei's, or from whatever dimension this is called. But pretty much, well, they could barely sense your magic, or they didn't try, or didn't really care. But in the different AUs of Undertale, they kind of, well, managed to sense your magic and your soul magic. But yeah, this is where, well, he says, that could be troublesome if they can't sense it. I should have talked to some of the other Isseis. Damn it. I didn't want to be a bother, and I didn't want to go into the AU on accident and bother them. I guess her understands, but yeah. This is where, well, Sona says, Issei. This is where she's snapping her finger right in front of Issei. Issei says, yeah, you said something? This is where, well, Sona's confused, but whatever. She says, may you go with Tsubaki to kind of get your clothes mostly size? Issei says, oh, yes, sorry about that. Issei gets up, and this is where, well, he's walking next to Tsubaki. Now Tsubaki is blushing, really mad. Of course, this is where Issei is kind of close to her, but of course they get towards the kind of clothing size and other things. And right now, check on his size. So of course he's a extra large, or not extra large, he's a large, just in height. Of course, well, he's also large in pants from his original size, but yeah. This is where, well, he got the shoes and other stuff, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei wondered if he can get it in black and purple. He asked, but of course she said, no, that's not impossible. Mostly, you gotta wear the school uniform. Ah, damn it. This is where Issei then thinks, well, in different schools, there usually are public schools where it allows me to fucking wear this, but this is where he says, then again, this is a private school. He says, then again, this is a private school. Whatever. This is where, well, he doesn't really get bothered too much with this, but of course, well, he kind of says, okay, thank you. This is where Tsubaki says, yes. She starts stuttering a little bit. Of course, this is where, well, just seeing Issei smile at her just makes her heart almost just melt in an instant. This is where Issei says, are you okay? This is where, well, Tsubaki says, yes, I'm okay. This is where she puts her hand right in front of Issei. Issei says, okay, well, I'm gonna be going back with my mom. This is where, well, Tsubaki nodded. This is where, well, Issei gets back to the council president, and of course see his mother kind of walking. This is where Issei kind of walks next to her. This is where, well, mostly Mika kind of asks Issei if he's going to stay in school for today. This is where Issei says, no, I'll probably go tomorrow. This is where, well, Mika says, okay, then let's go. This is where, well, she doesn't really, like, question if Issei wants to go today or not. This is where, well, she allows him to kind of go back home. But yeah, now of course they're getting to the house, but this is where we go into the council president. Sabaki managed to get back, but still blushing. This is where, well, Sona says, Sabaki, did you feel anything weird about Issei? This is where she's blushing and says, no. This is where, well, she did kind of had to feel, well, Issei's kind of, well, mostly use a tape measure to see his height and other things. Mostly how people kind of use for like the clothing size. Of course, when she kind of put it onto his like chest and other stuff. And of course, right now, seeing the measurement and accidentally did touch his chest on accident, she felt rock hard muscles. This is where, well, she said, no, no, no. This is where her face is all red. This is where, well, Sona says, okay, what do you want, Rias? Rias says he has something strange inside him. What is that? A sacred gear, possibly? Rias says, probably. I'm going to ask Kaneko to check on him. If he has a sacred gear, then yeah. But he seems to be kind of different. He looks human at the same time. This where, well, Sona says, of course he's human. He's just been a human child for a while. If he does have a sacred gear and I haven't noticed it, well, I did notice a little bit, but yeah. This where, well, Ria says, do you think he's actually a part of another demon group? If he's a demon incarnate, we would have felt the demon, well, what's it called? Mostly the evil piece that he has. Fine. Or maybe he's good at sensing it. Or hiding it. Yeah, that's not the case. Kyoto wasn't that smart last time we saw him 4 months ago. So that's probably not the case. This is where, well, she says, fine. But of course, we go into mostly Issei. We go into Issei kind of being at home. Now, of course, the work, well, he is right now kind of sleeping. Of course, Mika didn't bother him, but yeah. When Issei saw Mika leaving the house to kind of go shopping, but yeah. Issei got up, and that's where Issei right now summoned out 7 hands in total. This is where, well, these 7 hands are different colors. Blue, yellow, red, turquoise kind of blue, orange, and green. And also purple, but yeah. Of course, the work, well, he has his 7 hands. They're different, well, what's it called? Different magic abilities. But of course, this is where he sees that he can still use them in this world. It's mostly produced with his soul magic. This is where, well, he feels a little bit afraid of going back to school. But of course, he then feels something inside him. You are filled with determination. This is where, well, Issei then calms himself. But yeah, Gaster says, so, I can actually see that your soul magic, your second soul from your original soul determination is actually showing a little bit. You're feeling more hatred towards a certain group, aren't you? This is where Issei says, yeah, being at school, it's gonna make my, what's it called? I'm going to be filled with hatred towards a certain group. And I might not be able to control myself. This is where, well, Gaster says, then I will try to help you and try to calm you down as best as I can. He says, thanks, man. I do need that a lot. This is where, well, Gaster smiles and says, yeah. Besides, you are my partner for a while. It's been 4 months. Even though in the other place, it's been a couple of more than just 4 months. But, I guess, time just flows differently from here and there. He says, yep. But, even though I train enough for your soul magic, I'm still going to train. Even if it does kind of alert those people. Which I'm hoping it doesn't. Which Issei gets out of his room and gets downstairs. He gets to the back, mostly the backyard. Of course, his backyard is fenced up. But this is where Issei was about to start using soul magic. But this is where someone actually is right now spying on him for a second. This is where Issei is looking around. Now, of course, this is where Issei managed to spot a white-haired girl on a tree, just looking at him. Issei said, oh, hell no. He screams out, oh, hell no, stalker. This is where he runs inside. This is where, well, gonna go just get startled and almost falls off the tree. This is where she managed to land down like a cat with her feet down. This is where, well, she says, I'm not a stalker. This is where she was actually shocked to even believe Issei kind of noticed her. Of course, this is where she felt something weird, like he was about to do something. But of course, Issei got scared and startled, and he just ran back inside. Of course, where Kaneko got those, like, fell down, but yeah, like I mentioned. This is where, well, Kaneko tries to get back up the tree, But this is where, well, Issei went inside to look for something literally to use. Now, of course, he's not trying to hurt this person because he knows this girl actually does go to school almost in the mask off. But he gets a water gun, puts lots of water, lots of fucking freezing water, gets back outside and looks for the person. Right now, just looking around. Tries to look back into a tree, and this is where Koneko winds her eyes seeing the water gun. Issei says, "Get the fuck out my house." This is where Koneko, she hates water, but of course, she doesn't know what he put in there exactly. Issei says, "If you don't get out of my house, I'm just going to spray you with water and you got to get the fuck out. I don't like stalkers, go away." This is where, well, he always, for some reason, the reason why he actually managed to felt her, it wasn't because of her magic. It was literally because he had a sixth sense of just finding stalkers at the time. Because in the other AU world, before meeting Betty, she was kind of like a stalker to him, but yeah. Of course, well, she was also kind of yandere a little bit, but yeah. Of course, where Issei managed to get a sixth sense like that. Issei says, "I will spray you with water, go away." This is where, well, Koneko gulps, and this is where, well, she thinks that Issei doesn't know exactly where she's at. Issei sprays water, and of course, it smashes in the tree and just lands on her hair, and this is where she's kind of growls or kind of just screeches like a cat a little bit. This is where she says, "Okay, fine, I'll leave." Issei says, "Go away, stalker." This is where Koneko says, "I'm not a stalker." Issei says, "Then what were you doing on that tree?" Koneko has an angry look instead of her emotionless look at Issei, and this is where she says, "Getting something from that tree? Uh-huh. Clearly you suck at hiding because, whatever. Just tell me you're not a yandere freaking stalker, because I don't really want to deal with those again." This is where Koneko seems confused, but this is where, well, he says, "Hey, now go away before I spray you with more water." Now this is cold water. This is where, well, Koneko kind of growls at him, thinking that he won't do it. And this is where Issei sprays water, like, right next to her, almost hitting her, and this is where she realized that Issei isn't playing around. "Go away." Issei kind of just says. Like, he doesn't care if she's a mascot. He doesn't care how many people are going to attack him. Because he does know basic, well, not basic martial arts. He knows how to fight. He literally was trained by Undying in how to dodge spears of his energy attack, mostly magic. And he learned how to dodge pretty easily. But yeah, he doesn't care how many people are going to fight him. If he has to slaughter them, he will. Because he still has a hatred towards humans. Well, hatred towards humans, but yeah. Because, well, even though he didn't kill that many humans in the other world, he did. With his kind of best friend, Chara. But yeah, they really didn't like humans that much. Especially scumbag humans. This is where, well, he says, "Go away." This is where, well, Koneko just walks away. He says, "I really gotta put cameras around here. Gotta make sure that no stalker follows me again." Ugh. Then again, Betty wasn't that bad, but still. I don't want stalkers. Ugh. Especially yanderes again. Oh, she was a yandere a little bit, but still. Never mind. Issei goes back to what he was going to do. And of course, where he then sends if there's like any more stalkers, where they're not. So we go into the next day. Issei kind of gets to the school. And this is where, well, he's walking along. This is where, well, 4 boys appear right in front of him. And this is where, well, they say, "So you must be the other pretty boy that we saw yesterday. So what, are you here, or were you kind of accepted to be enrolled? You know, we can easily kick your ass to get you out of the school. We will hurt you so bad that..." This is where before the older guy keeps talking, Issei uppercutted this guy in the fucking chin. Right now, launching his head up to the fucking ceiling and didn't care. This is where the other 3 people who are kind of, I guess, what's it called, like, members or whatever, looked at how their freaking leader just got uppercutted and launched to the ceiling. Issei says, "Any more if you want to fight me, then I'll be gladly to kick your ass so damn hard." One guy rushes at Issei. This is where Issei kicks the fucking knee into, mostly kind of like twisting it to the back. And this is where the guy says, "Ah!" He's screaming in pain. This is where, well, Issei says, "Oh, yeah. Don't worry, I didn't shatter your knee, I don't think so." "Oh, whatever. Come on, you two. Let's go, fight me." This is where the other 2 wind their eyes and realized and ran. So Issei says, "Oh, come on, don't be a bitch. I didn't kick you that hard, did I?" This is where the guy is screaming like a bitch, and this is where Issei says, I don't really like you kind of screaming, so shut the fuck up. Issei kicks him in the fucking face and knocks him out. Gaster kind of comments saying, don't you think that was a little too harsh? Well, Undyne always tell me never to hold back on someone who's actually talking so much smack. This is where, well, Gaster switch up and says, I guess you're right. This is where, well, Issei says, yeah, I'm always right. This is where, well, we go into someone literally stalking him again, and that was none other than Koneko. Or not even stalking, just see the situation, what Issei did to two idiots, and the other two just running. Literally knocking the leader up, and this is where, well, Issei was just having a calm expression when he was doing all this. This is where, well, Issei kind of gets towards his class, mostly the same homework class he was in before that whole situation happened. This is where Issei didn't knock at the door, literally just opens, walked in, went to his sit in his class like where his chairs had been behind, well, Morohama. And this is where, well, Morohama Matsui just looks at him confused. Everyone looks at him confused, even the teacher, because she wasn't expecting a new student. She was expecting a return student, not a new student. Issei sits down, literally just looks at everyone and says, what the fuck are you all looking at? This is where, well, everyone just blink, blink, blink. This is where, well, Matsui and Morohama says, do you know where you're sitting at, pretty boy? This is where Issei says, yes, my fucking chair. You dumb fucks, do you not remember who I am? This is where Issei gets annoyed and literally decides to, well, kind of show this very tick mark because he's kind of getting annoyed with his two idiotic friends. This is where Matsui Morohama says, you're sitting in Issei, yes, Issei Hyodo's spot. Now shut the fuck up, that's basically my name, you assholes. This is where, well, both of them say, wait, Issei? How the fuck do you look like that? This is where Issei kind of looks at them with this check mark happening. Multiple check marks, and this is where Issei says, you know, I show you how I'm looking like this. Issei grabs both of their heads and smashed them together and then went to sit down. This is where everyone saw the brutal fact. This is where Issei says, done? Anyone else want to fucking annoy me? I literally return after 4 fucking months and you people are here to piss me off and look at me. Shut the fuck up and look forward. This is where Issei looks already pissed and annoyed. He already got bothered with some idiots and then just uppercutted their shit, which are just being removed about this time by the student council. We'll see Sanji say, how the fuck did this happen? We go into Sanji saying, how the fuck did this happen? This is where he's literally removing the guy with his demonic strength, mostly since he's a 4-pawn piece, but yeah. This is where, well, the person next to him is a bluish hair girl named, I think, Momo? Or whichever, I don't remember all the characters from Sona's team or whatever. But of course, where, well, she's saying, I don't know. That guy over there has his leg twisted. And when we look into the camera, some white-haired dude kind of just easily kicked the shit out of them. Sanji says, who the fuck was that anyway? I think I remember seeing him yesterday when he was walking next to, I guess, his mother going back home or something. This is where they say, don't know, don't care. This is where, well, Issei, he then kind of gets up from his class after it's the end. Of course, he and Morohama Matsui still knocked the fuck out. But of course, where, well, some other guys say, so, Issei, you're the hotshot or anything. Remember what we did to you back then 4 months? You ain't know nothing better than, what's it called, that weakling pathetic. This is where Issei kind of grabs his head, smashing the table, and says, you want to keep talking? I don't care if I have to smash your face and break into a million pieces. This is where Issei right now looks at him with these murderous eyes. Everyone else, even the girls right now, fearing Issei. This is where, well, the other guys who was next to him just says, hey, do you not remember where you're at? You're basically the pervert trio with those 2 other idiots. It doesn't matter, you're still a pervert. This is where Issei said, I see. Hey, can you fly? This is where Issei kind of questioned it out. The guy says, what do you mean fly? The window shatters and the guy is right now throwing out the window. Literally, Issei didn't care. This is where Issei then smashes the guy's face into a table, still being bloody. Issei says, also, can I ask all of you else that are in this group, can you guys fly? This is where all of them just shake their heads. This is where they say, no, we can't fly. We don't know how to fly. Issei says, oh really? You guys don't know how to fly? Well, let me show you how to fly. All of them start booking down to the door running like a fucking cowards. Issei says, pathetic motherfuckers. Couldn't even learn how to fly. I learned how to fly when I was still kind of that day. Kinda. Guess I say you never learned how to fly. Okay, shh. They don't need to know about that. This is where, well, Issei didn't care. That guy who fell down to the ground what they were on the second floor, not on the third floor. But yeah, this is where well the guy he's still alive, just barely. Issei added some magic into him, making sure that he didn't die. He should be at 1 HP. If you want to think of it like an RPG game, he's literally at 1 HP. That one dude. This is where, well, he's on the half heart. Mostly, think of Minecraft. He's on half heart. He could easily die. Like, someone can easily just toss a pebble and he dies. But yeah. This is where, well, Issei is walking out without a care in the world. He's kind of went through so much shit the whole day. Clearly from every guy trying to pick a fight with him, making sure that this is still Issei and how they can easily bully him for money. To some girls trying to flirt with him and literally Issei looking at them with this, bitch, fuck off. But yeah, Issei just been beating the shit out of people left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. The student council kind of noticed how Issei is giving the hands straight towards every person that literally pissed him off when, or mostly bullied him when he was 4 months ago. But yeah, Issei's giving them the hands. This is where Issei, he almost got attacked by someone using a knife until Issei grabs that knife, uses their own knife and stabbed him right in the eye. The guy was screaming out in pain, but Issei didn't really care. He really doesn't care. He would have grabbed their knife, but it was too disgusting and germy on it. This is where, well, he doesn't care about touching pathetic knives that people use. And besides, he noticed the knife was pretty damn cheap. The metal was so cheap. He doesn't care. He only uses really good quality knives when he's going to kill someone. Because he's going to use that knife again. He's not going to use it one time. He's going to use it again. And again. And again and again and again. Just like how Chara does at the same time. So of course, well, Issei literally fuck up a lot of people and send them straight into the nurse office the whole day. Issei was called up to the student council president to stop hurting them. So bad that they're literally also in the hospital. Issei looks at Sona directly, with his eyes being cold as fuck. Huh? Oh, well then tell them to fuck off and stop trying to attack me in an instant. Also, the guy with the knife that stabbed his own eye, that was his fault. You see here, you can even check the DNA print. I didn't do anything but grab his arm and stab him into his own eye. I won't go to jail. So that's his fault for being an idiot and should have just dropped the knife. This is where, well, Sona just sighs. She wasn't expecting Issei to be such a cold, brutally murderous person, or even a genius at the same time. Sona then looks at him and then grins, thinking about something. So of course, where, well, Sona has this evilish smirking grin. And this is where, well, she then says, how about we make a bet? Issei said, I'm not much of a betting man, but what do you want to bet? You stop hurting so many people instead of just defend yourself and not hurt them really bad. And you become, you give me a favor. Okay, this is where he says, okay. And what do I get in return? You can continue hurting so many people and literally landing them in the hospital, and you don't need to pay the hospital bill. And you can request anything, okay? Whatever request and favor. Is there Issei says, oh really? I want 2 favors. Okay, fine. And that means you give me 2 favors also. Issei says, that's fine. What are we playing? Chess, she said, right now smirking and grinning. This is where, well, Issei says, okay. That's fine. Issei kind of has his own grin. He has been playing chess for a while. He played chess with literally a machine. The machine almost kicked his ass multiple times, but he managed to figure out a bunch of tactics. So of course he says, okay, then let's play. This is where, well, Issei and Sona played for at least 1 hour later. So we go into 1 hour later. Or, let me. So we go into 1 hour later with a lot of more math later. But yeah, okay, I was going to use the sound effect for SpongeBob, but I said fuck it now. I don't remember what it was called, but whatever. But pretty much we go into 1 hour later, and this is where Sona has already lost 2 times. Well, not even 2 times, 1 time in her whole entire fucking existing life. This is where, well, she smashes the table in an instant with fury in her eyes, right now anger, and of course, Issei sweats up and says, hey, didn't you, what are our promises and betting and other stuff? This is where, well, She sweat drops and says, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm happy. This is where, well, she says with this evilish smile. This is where Issei sweat drops and says, what the hell is that smile? God, he even remind me of Yandere's. This is where, well, Issei says, so I can have any favors and I don't need to pay the hospital bill of me easily beating the shit out of a bunch of people. So if I ask for one of the favors that if I accidentally cut someone's arm, you'll be okay with it, right? This is where, well, Sona says, what are you talking about? Issei says, oh, nothing. Issei sweat drops and just says, oh, say nothing. Nothing at all. This is where, well, Sona says, yeah. This is where, well, she didn't realize about something. This is where Issei says, well, I should be going then. Issei walks away, but yeah, like opens the door and walks away. Sona realized one fucking mistake that she just realized that losing literally caused her. Marriage proposal. And that is between her and Issei. She literally made this whole chess. She would never be defeated at all, and she would never marry anyone. That being either a guy or girl. That means if she lost to a girl, she literally had to marry the girl, but yeah. But of course her parents, if they ever find out that she lost to a human boy, they're going to question if Sona is that good. Or they're going to have to marry their daughter straight to a human boy. This is where, well, Sona says, oh, no. Yeah, no. This is where, even though Issei has gotten a lot more better and much more decent personality, like less perverted, but more cruel, not cruel, what the hell is that, cruel? Mostly cruel, and it's such a monster, have the time to easily kick the shit out of people and literally break bones and not care. Still, it's better than being a pervert, she thinks in her mind, but still, the hospital bill is going to be a pain. She sighs, she would just make Rias do it then. She would just beat Rias in chess just to make her pay for it. This is where she then thinks about it. Yeah, that's a good idea. This is where, well, she kind of called her friend to get to the classroom. And of course, this is where, well, she kind of makes a little bet with her and of course plays chess. This is where, well, she uses a similar tactic of, well, mostly similar tech of, well, mostly Issei's kind of chess game against Rias. This is where Rias sighs and says, okay, what is your favorite then, since I lost to you? It's a favor that I will tell you later, and you might have to pay for it. This is where Rias walks up and says, what are you talking about? Nothing. She mostly whistles and just walks away. This is where, well, Rias walks up and says, whatever. Also, I'm still thinking of getting the, Issei boy on my group. Yeah. Good luck with that. This is where she walks away, but yeah. This is where, well, Rias says, what the fuck is going on? This is where Sona realized if Issei asks for a favor not to go into Rias' group, literally she can do absolute nothing to stop him from joining the called research group. By kind of stopping Rias from actually making her kind of do blah blah blah. By playing another chess and just defeating her. But yeah. This is where, well, she realized that Issei has two favors. Now, of course, she doesn't exactly know what he wants with those two favors. What the fuck did I say, flavors? Favors. Blah, blah. I can't even speak right now. But of course, well, we go into the end of the day. Issei has just walking out from the back of the school, right now having his hands bloody. But of course, it isn't his blood. And of course, his, well, what's it called? Shirt and other stuff also bloody, but of course it isn't his blood. But of course, well, he says, wow, that was such a brutal day, but yet an exciting day. In mostly in Undyne's words, that was an exciting battle. This is where, well, Gaster just chuckles to himself and says, I guess you're right. This is where we go into behind the scope. So many people had broken legs, broken arms, broken almost necks, and yeah, you get the point. There was a lot of people really hurt. There were so many people that get out of what's called the nurse office who literally fight Issei back again. Now they know not to piss off Issei. Issei is literally like a lion caged in the school and can easily just murder them. This is where, well, None of them ever wants to piss off Issei again, and they thought they just saw Issei's eyes go to red for a second. Red or black for a second, like if he was filled with determination and hatred at the same time for the disgusting humans to even dare touch him. Now Issei is walking home, but of course someone noticed him kind of from a different window, and no, it wasn't Rias, but instead of, it was a girl with blackish purplish hair and bluish mostly. She says, "Ara ara, he looks kind of cute." Actually, if I can remember right, his name was Issei. This is where she kind of has this evilish grin in her face because she starts kind of feeling a way for him. Mostly like love, but stalkery type of love. A little bit beyond it also. This is where, well, she decides to follow him and of course going towards his house. So of course that happened. But of course, where, well, we go into Issei walking across a bridge, and mostly this is where, well, Yuma appears saying, well, I say saying twice, saying that she wants to go out with Issei. This is where Akano gets angry at this bitch trying to take Issei away from him, or mostly from her. This is where Koneko is seeing this right now, being next to Akano, even though they barely even notice each other. Koneko says, "I see. I must have report this back to Rias." This is where, well, Akano says, "Koneko?" Koneko says, "Akano, what are you doing here?" This is where, well, the girl named Yuma walked away, and this is where, well, Akano says, looking at stuff. This is where she was stuttering a little bit. Koneko says, "Well, I gotta report this because that person right there has similar energy to a sacred gear." This is where Akano says, "I see." This is where Issei appears like right next to them, without even realizing that he was like right next to them, and saying, "So you're that white-haired girl stalking me. I guess you brought your friend. So what the hell is a sacred gear exactly?" This is where both of them wind their eyes, seeing Issei. This is where Issei looks at them confused. Right now they're paling and sweat dropping so many times, but of course, this is where, well, Issei just smiling at them with this gentle smile, and that's where, well, they are just saying, what do you mean sacred gear? We didn't say sacred gear, we say sacred fear. This is where, well, Issei says, "Sacred fear? Then again, you are kind of scared of cold water when I kind of run you out for being a stalker." This is where, well, Koneko sweat drops and says, "Yeah, I'm fear of water. I don't like cold water." This is where Issei said, "Yeah." He then looks at Akano and says, "Who are you? Please tell me you're not another stalker. If I already had to chase her out with cold water, I would shoot you with cold water also. I don't care. I don't like stalkers. Please just come towards me and literally just talk to me if you need anything." Sir Akano says, "Yeah, who is that girl?" This is where, well, she said kind of gently, but had this sinister smile. This is where he says, "Don't know. She's a girl that asked me out," and I just say, "Sure, why not?" But yeah, Akano says, "I see. Okay." This is where, well, Akano says, "Well, I gotta be leaving then." This is where Koneko says, "Yeah, I also gotta be leaving. See ya." This is where they kind of walk away, mostly Koneko running away, but yeah. That's where Issei sweat drops and says, "The hell's a sacred gear? Hey, Gaster, you know anything about this?" This is where Gaster says, "Nope, kid, I'm confused as you." Could it be that giant red lizard that I have been seeing in my mindscape for a while? Could be. Going to have to find out how to wake his ass up. This is where Issei gets to his house. So we go into Issei's mindscape. Issei got into his mindscape and literally looked for the red lizard again. This is where, well, he finds the red lizard sleeping. This is where Gaster says, "So how are you gonna wake him up?" This is how. This is where Issei said, "You are filled with determination." Literally a screen pops up. This is where Issei then manifests a red sword. A red kind of katana sword. This is where, well, he then says, "Red Divine Slash." This is where he swings the sword up and then swings it back down. This is where a huge red slash literally smashes into Drake, waking his ass up, and this is where he says, Huh? What the hell was that?" He did kind of get pushed away from his sleeping spot. And this is where he looks down to see Gaster and Issei. Issei, "Wake your ass up, you dumbass!" This is where Issei grins. This is where Drake says, "Urgh. Wait, you're my host. Damn it, brat. You had to wake my ass up from me just taking a nap." Issei says, "Bitch, hurry your ass up and wake up. Dude, I don't care. Tell me, do you know what a sacred gear is?" This is where, well, The red lizard says, you don't? Well, how the hell do you even know about that word? Two weird people were literally stalking me talking about a sacred gear or something. Oh no, I'm just asking you because you look like the person to know everything. You look like an old ass lizard. This is where Drake says, okay, rude first, kid. Second of all, a sacred gear is basically what I am. You basically are the Red Dragon Emperor. Uh-huh. How do I use you? You have to manifest me? How do I do that? Raise your left hand up, or mostly right hand up, and think of something that you want to manifest me to be in. Okay. This is where Issei says, Gaster Blaster! This is where a Gaster Blaster appears, and it's not red, it's not even Drake's power. And this is where, well, Drake sweat drops because he doesn't understand what Issei is using. He didn't actually see Issei's entire life and other things. Mostly in the 8 months in AU, but yeah, in other places. This is where, well, Drake says, no. Just raise your left hand and just scream something like boom or something. This is where Issei says, okay. So, what's your name exactly? Drake. Okay, Drake. I summon upon Drake! He swings his hand up and it doesn't do anything. Just say boom! Fine. Boom! Sacred Gear unlocked! This is where actually the Sacred Gear actually appears in his arm right now, even though he's sleeping. And this is where, well, it did kind of, well, it didn't like manifest outside, but this is where he says, hey, what the hell is this? That's your Sacred Gear. It looks like it went into second liberation. Huh. You're actually strong enough and actually powerful enough to manifest as a second, well, basically second gear. You got the second stage. Liberation. That's where Issei said, okay. So how would this work? So it just boosts over 10 seconds every time. Okay. So this increases my magic also, right? Yeah, why? So Issei looks at his soul, and this is where well, there's like already 3 souls until a 4th soul appears. Mostly around his monster soul, mostly Gaster soul. Being a kind of reddish, well, not even reddish, a kind of greenish heart. That's right, you say, I'm guessing that's your dragon soul, isn't it? How the, what is that anyway? My soul is supposed to be, what the hell? These are called soul magics, mostly the red and black one are mine. The white one is his, he kind of points at Gaster, and yours is the green one. I guess we just fused in an instant after, well, kind of hitting you with an attack. He's sweat dropping. This is where, well, Drake narrowed his eyes and said, okay, well, now you have my power. Cool. So this is where he looks at Gaster and says, so am I, what's it called? Human, half monster, or am I dragon? This is where, well, Gaster looks at Issei, his 2 human hearts. You are basically 50% human still. Kind of, mostly if you want to think about it, 50% normal human, kind of 25% normal human, 25 hating human, and then there's your my monster soul, so you're kind of 25% monster now, and now 25% dragon. Issei says, I'm broken! Issei just grins. This is where, well, Drake and Gaster just sweat drops, but yeah, this is where Issei says, but whatever. If I can do this, then... Did you know what the hell that thing was that kind of asked me out? This is where, well, Drake says, let me look into your memories. That's a fallen angel. This is where he kind of says after a while. Issei says, the fuck is a fallen angel? Okay, you don't know jack anything, do you? I literally left this dimension about 4 months ago. The fuck you mean I gotta know anything about this? Left it, what the fuck? This is where he looks into Issei's memories and says, okay, now I can see what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, this is going to be more confusing. So you're telling me you went to a different dimension entirely, and then went into different other dimensions to learn about yourself, but different powers. Yeah? And you don't know what the fuck the supernatural is? Are they similar to monsters? Yes, they're similar to monsters. It's just... fine, I'll just tell you. So we go into 1 hour later. Of course, Drake kind of explained everything about the supernatural being, and the fact that Issei is supposed to fight the White Dragon Emperor named Albion. This is where Issei says, well shit, he's going to have a rude awakening. Drake says, what do you mean? Issei says, blue magic. This is where a blue kind of outline appears around Drake, and Drake says, "What are you?" This is where he's getting lifted up, and this says, Issei says, "I'm going to telekinesis ass straight to the ground when I get him." This is where Drake switches off and realizes that he can't do anything, and if Albion gets trapped in this, he's fucked. This is where he grins and says, "You want? Let's do it then." Drake says, "I'll help you with the boost. I'll literally help you. Now that I realize that you're broken as fuck, we're beating the shit out of Albion and his stupid host." This is where, right now, Gaster Swell drops, but yeah. This is where he sees Drake is just happy and grinning like a madman. Like if he's just kind of grinning like a, what's it called, evil child or something, but yeah. This is where we go into the next day. Issei kind of goes to school, but of course after school he kind of gets towards a date. And of course, this is where it's already turning dark after 2 hours, but yeah. This is where, well, Rainer kind of still tries to attack Issei. Of course, Issei still got that flyer, but this is where when Issei was about to get attacked, Issei gets hit and Issei goes, ugh. This is where he falls down. This is where Rainer says, "Blame the God of the Bible for your misfortune." This is where Issei kind of chuckles a little bit. This is where Rainer says, "You know you're dying." Issei says, "Yeah, I know I'm dying." This is where, well, Issei melts up. This is where Rainer says, "What the fuck are you?" Issei transforms back to normal. Issei's hair, his eyes transform. One being blue and one being red. This is where Issei chuckles and says, "Well, let's start this festival already." This is where, well, Issei kind of says, "I'm going to play around with you, having a little fun by killing you." This is where Issei then throws the flyer away. He kind of thinks whatever the fuck that was, he's not really wanting anything. Well, the flyer mostly flies out of his pocket, but yeah. Issei, he then says, "I'm gonna blast you straight to hell." Well, mostly, let me say a poem first. On days like these, well, mostly, the birds are chirping, the flowers are blooming. On days like these, people like you should be burning in hell. This is where Issei right now summoning out bones out of nowhere, right now from the ground, and this is where Rainer says, "What the fuck?" This is where she's trying to dodge now. But yeah. But of course, where, well, she's trying to dodge the attacks from, what's it called, Issei, and of course, where, well, Issei said, "Where are you going, Rainer? It's not that fun if you keep dodging." This is where, well, 2 magic circles appears behind Issei. It was none other than Sona, because Reyes kind of got alerted that Issei could be dead, and mostly the magic circle somewhere. But yeah, this is where they appeared, mostly saying, "Okay, so you're telling me not to revive him, but I'm going to do it anyway." This is where Sona is saying, "Yeah, I'm telling you not to." They see a situation. They see, what's it called, Rainer on the ground. Issei having bones right now appearing around over her, and right now she did kind of get blasted down to the ground by a Gaster Blaster. Issei says, "So, you want to tell me about why the fuck you have black wings?" Even though he already knows about the supernatural thanks to Drake. This is where, well, Rainer says, "Screw you." Okay, you say screw me. No thanks, I don't really screw myself. But, I'm going to say bye-bye. Issei right now summons multiple bones around him and says, "Well, bye-bye, you're dead." She basically died. She dies, but yeah, her soul was easily destroyed, but yeah. Her soul was actually a pinkish color. No, it's not fear, it's actually lust, but yeah. It's like a pinkish purplish color, but yeah. Issei, I should also mention, he was already in his coat. He uses his own magic to literally bring out his coat. Mostly it's like this color of coat, but yeah. Instead of being just black, it was actually lining on like purple, thanks to his eyes being a purplish color also. This is where, well, Issei turns around and sees Sona and Rias sweat drops and says, "Okay, before you ask, and what the fuck I am, just know that I am a skeleton of," well, he says, "Before, I know you have so many questions." Well, he says, "I know you have a skeleton." This is where he hits a bone. Right now there's a bone next to him. He grabs a bone, smacks it, and says, "A skeleton of questions." This is where, well, both of them cringes at the pun. This is where Issei cringes. Couldn't contain the laughter. This is where Issei says, "Okay, but still, bye." Issei right now teleport. This is where, well, the fallen angel's dead, but yeah. This is where both Rias and Sona sweat drops. This is where Issei says, "Phew, this is bad. They now know that I can use magic. What to do?" Drake says, "Stupid moron." This is where, well, Issei says, well, fuck you too. You should have told me that was actually a magic circle. Well, yeah, shouldn't I? But I thought you already knew what a magic circle was. He kind of glares at Issei. Issei says, I was in a different dimension, you idiots. They don't use magic circles. They literally use their own magic from their hearts, mostly the soul. I can see that. Oh, great. Well, this is going to be a pain next day. We go on to the next day. One eternity later. Issei is in his school, right now in his classroom, until he gets called up by mostly Kiba to go to the ORC. This is where Issei says, oh shit, this is bad. Don't worry, I have my magic if I had to teleport. This is where, well, they're going, and this is where Kiba smiles at Issei and says, hello there, Issei. This is where Issei says, yeah, sup, Kiba? This is where, well, they're going. Of course, Issei's getting prepared to use his magic, just in case he gotta teleport. He gotta dip again. Because he can actually feel Kiba to have the same magical kind of signature as, well, Rias. This is where Issei, when they get, well, mostly towards the ORC, he sees the white hair girl, the black hair girl, Ria's Grammary, Sona, and her Parage. This is where Issei switch off and says, oh shit. This is where, well, Ria said, hello there, Issei-kun. Issei said, hi, I guess I'm going to just sit here, right? This is where, well, Ria says, yes, you may take a seat. So, you're probably already knowing what you're doing here. This is where Issei said, before, well, he then says, yeah, what is happening? This is where they all show their double wings. Seeing if Issei was surprised, Issei was surprised. He says, this is where Ria says, okay, so you're probably wondering what we are. Bats, Issei said just bluntly. This is where Ria switch off and says, okay, you clearly don't know what exactly we are exactly, do you? Issei says, nope, I actually don't even know why I'm here. Why am I here near a bunch of bats? Please tell me you're not vampires. Issei switch off and right now covers his neck up with his, well, mostly his, like, shirt, but yeah. This is where, well, or mostly his coat takes off and, like, put it around his neck and say, I don't taste good. This is where Akano just chuckles and just say, ara, but I want to taste you. This is where he says, get me away from her. This is where, well, Kiba right now says, Akano, I don't think it's a good idea to scare him. This is where, well, Ria said, okay, this is where, well, we're going to 1 hour later about what Ria kind of talks about. This is where, well, she then asked Issei to be in her Parage. This is where Issei said, no. This is where he looks at Sona and says, I want that favor. This is where, well, this is where everyone looks at her, and this is where Sona says, what do you mean? I don't want to be in her Parage. But I'm using the favor to stop me from going to her Parage. This is where Sona, this is the worst fucking mistake. This is where, well, she did already pay the bill of the thing, and this is where she then uses that one favor from Ria and says, I guess you can't use him. I'm using that favor. This is where Ria switch off and says, no, you can't fucking do this. This is where Sona says, will you join? This is where Issei says, I'm using the other favor not to join your Parage either. This is where both of them just switch offs. They literally just got counteracted by Issei. Issei says, whatever. Besides, I'm not this red dragon emperor or whatever. I use soul magic to, well, get away from stuff. Like this situation now. Because this is a skeleton of questions. This is where, well, they look at him. Stop with the puns. Well, it seems that you just have been boned. This is where, well, bone stuff or whatever. I can't think of any puns, but yeah. This is where they switch up and say, stop it. This is where Issei said, well, now that you know that I don't want to join your Parage, I'm going to be leaving. See ya. Issei right now, his eyes glows purple. And this is where, well, not purple, they went blue. And this is where Issei said, other than that, wait. You said Red Dragon Emperor, didn't you say? This is where, mostly, not Red Dragon Emperor, Sacred Gear, right? They said, yeah. And since I'm no longer needing to join your Parages, right? Yeah. I don't need to be bothered, right? Since I already said I just hold magic, right? Yeah. Issei said, okay, good. This is where he then puts his right arm up and says, come out! Second liberation! That's where the Red Dragon Emperor appears. So, that's where all of them just switch up, realizing that Issei does have a sacred gear. Issei says, don't worry, I figured out this a while ago. Mostly like 2 days ago. But that's not the point. I have a Red Dragon Emperor, sacred gear, Longitis, or whatever he said one time. But all I want to say Ha! Screw you! Issei teleport. Pew! Doesn't work well. All of them sweatshops realize that Issei is kind of like a child a little bit, but yeah. This is where Issei sweatshops and says, "You think that was the greatest idea?" Drake says, "No, but it's funny." This is where Issei says, "Yeah, right? Any other barrage, I'm gonna fuck them up, but yeah." This is where, well, Drake says, "Yeah, I guess so that can happen." This is where, well, Rias looks at Sona right now, glaring at her and saying, "How the hell did he get 2 favors from you?" Well, when there was that whole day, you know, when there was a lot of people in literally a hospital, I was going to stop him from doing any of that and just telling him to just self-defense and not hurt people that brutally. But of course, I lost towards him with the chess game. What? That means you're gonna have to... This is where Sona says, "Yeah, don't tell them." This is where, well, all of them looks at them confusing, and Sabaki does know if Sona does lose, she has to marry the person. But yeah, now of course it worked well. Sanji says, "Don't tell us what." "Nothing, Sanji." But yeah, I got 2, literally I let him have 2 favors. And I wasn't expecting him to use him like this. Well, I kind of expect him if you were ever going to try to put him into your barrage. And then you used me against me. Well, why did you play that game with me if you knew that's what's going to happen? This is where, well, Sona says, "Okay, Rias, I was going to make you pay all the bill, but I couldn't find you that day. So, of course, I had to pay it myself." Rias said, "Oh, how much was the hospital bill?" "At least 10 million yen." So she switched up and said, "Okay, now I can see what you were trying to do." Which, first, that's actually such a bitch move. This is where she glares at Sona. And this is where, well, she then says, "But I don't have the Red Dragon Emperor in my garage." This is where she switched off because she does not want to marry with Riser, but Issei, as being a child, but being at the same time really fucking smart, he just outsmarted all of them and said, "Fuck that." But yeah. But of course, I'm going to leave it off here for, well, part 1. I know it's 1 hour and 31 minutes. It's going to be a pain for me to rewatch this later. But yeah, other than that, this will be the end of this What If. But yeah, bye. I gotta go.